So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. I do hope today is the audio different, at least, and a bit better, because as you can see for those people that are watching the YouTube video, there is a neat construction on my left side, on your right side. I do hope that it is just, at least I'm speaking in the direction of the microphone. When I'm just having the headphones in, then it is dangling somewhere on my neck, and it for sure is not going to provide the best quality. It is a bit muffled, as I've seen. Maybe now I'm just gonna go back a bit and just have some issues there, but I think it should be quite fine, and it looks kind of interesting as well. So this is normally kind of a, what do you even call that shit? Can you see? No, you can't. It's normally just some device to hold my cutting board. So there's also some sort of a stick through it, and so you can hang them, so the cutting boards onto this thing. But I do not use those cutting boards that much, and so I've decided, well, let's just use it in that way and just use it in some way, because when I'm not using it this way, it is just standing around somewhere, and useless then, quite. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead with, I don't know what the book is called. You're probably gonna see it in the title anyway. Safety, which is the next chapter, the second chapter that we are going through. The first we done yesterday. It's been pretty long, and yes, safety, security, need. So it basically is covering and or about the Maslow's pyramid, or Maslow's pyramid, whatever you call it in English. I don't know. But do I have to change it? No. And safety is indeed one of those needs that we are having as a human being, as a species, as we are, as we do things. Anyway, today's science makes clear that unpredictability has far-reaching consequences for the lives we can envision and create for ourselves. The need for safety and its accompanying need for stability, certainty, predictability, and coherence, continuity, and trust in the environment is the base upon which all the others are fulfilled. Which I'm actually also seeing. Tomorrow I'm going to have my second day of the new work, and I don't know shit. And it is driving me a bit crazy, and it is a bit of a, fucked up position. Because I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. Of course, I can ask somebody, there's enough people I can ask, but it always feels so random, and it is just a pain in the ass that I have to deal with this shit again, But yeah. The need for coherence is the form of meaning that is most strongly tied to the need for safety. Does my immediate environment make sense? Is there any predictability and comprehensibility in my life? Coherence is necessary to even get a chance to pursue one's larger purpose, or pursue various ways that one can matter in this world. And I think it just clearly makes sense also that, well, I guess we're going from the bottom to the top, that safety is on the bottom, because a ton of things base on safety. If you're not safe, you're probably not going to think about eating, for example. If you're not safe, you're probably not going to think about mating, for example, because why would you? You're not even safe, you're just struggling with your life, and you're just maybe fighting for your life because there is no safety. So it just, I think, clearly makes sense that not having safety is actually pretty shitty, so to speak. First applied to the operation of physical systems. Yes. Entropy is a measure of disorder, but the very same principles of entropy that apply to physical thermodynamic systems, such as self-organization, apply to all information processing systems, including the brain, nervous system, and psychological processes of humans. All biological organisms, including humans, survive insofar as they are able to effectively manage internal entropy. And I do want to give you a definition of entropy. Physics, a thermodynamic quantity, representing the unavailability of systems' thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work. Where is it? That's great. The conversion into mechanical, often interpreted as the degree of disorder or randomness in the system. The second law of thermodynamics says that entropy always increases with time, the sum of the entropies of all the bodies taking part in the process. I mean, if you're taking it literal, I just had to think about my room, back in my old flat. It was always quite dirty. Now I'm actually doing quite fine. There's still some things laying around, but since I'm having more space and more capability of organizing the same amount of stuff that I've had before in a larger room, makes it a bit more bearable and a bit easier to just deal with things. But the longer time spin, the more fucked up my room was, unless I've decided to just do something about it and tidy it up, of course. But normally, it would just, progressively get worse over time. But yeah. Lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder, a marketplace where entropy reigns supreme. In information theory, a logarithmic measure of the rate of transfer of information in a particular message or language. Aha. And the German translation is entropy. Thank you, motherfucker. That's been pretty useful. The next thing is going to be connection, or the security need. If both the psychological and the safe needs are fairly well gratified, there will emerge a love and affection and belongingness needs, and the whole cycle already described will repeat itself with this new center. He will want to, or she, I guess, wants to attain such a place more than anything else in the world, and may even forget that once, when he was hungry, he sneered at love as unreal or unnecessary or important. Which just clearly makes sense, as I've been talking about it before. I mean, if I'm hungry, I'm not gonna fucking think about mating, because there is a crucial need that is not met yet. And of course, when it is met, we're striving for something different, and we are able to go for something different as well, also because of an energy perspective. If I'm not having anything in my tummy and I'm so fucking hungry that I'm not even able to move, how the fuck should I even be able to mate? But of course, if I was able to eat something, then I can indeed think about other things, and also do other things, so to speak. Anyway. He's near blah 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 blah. Now he will feel sharply the pangs of loneliness, of what the fuck is ostracism? Ostracism. The threat of social ostracism, exclusion, rejection, repudiation, shunning. Is there actually also I see. Of rejection, of friendliness, of rootlessness. Abraham Maslow, Motivation and Personality from 1954. This was a quote, by the way. The need for connection actually consists of two sub-needs. The need to belong, to be liked, to be accepted, and be. The need for intimacy, for mutuality, for relatedness. No human being is exempt. Exempt. What the fuck is exempt? I'm gonna learn so many words today, I guess. Free from the dire consequences of loneliness, and no other basic human need satisfaction can substitute for a deep connection. Not money, not fame, not power, not popularity, not even belonging and acceptance, even though we often seek one or another of these other routes in the false hope that they will fully satisfy our needs for connection. Many countries that are economically deprived nevertheless find ways of increasing social belonging among their inhabitants. Even studies conducted in the slums of Calcutta, India, show that the levels of life satisfaction among inhabitants are higher than those of the average American, although not as high as the richest people in India. Also, there are plenty of examples of people who choose an environmentally friendly or voluntarily simplistic lifestyle who also score high in life satisfaction despite their low income. Might actually also be one of the reasons why Nordic countries are often among the happiest ones. Maybe they, because of their culture, because of how they do things, they are more connected to each and another than in other countries. Of course, different cultures and different ways of interacting with other people, therefore it can change quite a lot of things. I mean, when I think about in Austria at least, being in a city versus being in a village is tremendously different. When you're in a village, even as a foreigner, as somebody that just is there for the sake of being there, people are gonna greet you. I do not want to generalize that. I don't want to say that it is always going to be the case. So if you move or go to a village in Austria, not everyone's gonna kind of hug you and whatnot. But when you're in the city, nobody's gonna greet you. Nobody's gonna say shit. But when was it? I think indeed yesterday. Yesterday I was driving my bike, and I really got fucked up, by the way. Just a short story. I decided to go somewhere I haven't been before, and in the end I had to go all the way fucking back, and I went through just such a lot of fucking plants and grass, and like really high grass, and it really was pissing me off because I thought all about the insects and shit that is gonna be inside of these things, but in the end everything's been fine. I had to go everything back and choose another route that was not just better, but in the end I was able to get home. But on my way I was in some sort of farming field type of thing, and I met a person, and I think that I greeted the person first, but also just because this person was looking at me. And maybe it's also the whole setting. Like, it feels a bit different when you're greeting somebody in the setting of a village than when you are in a city. Obviously you would have to greet fucking everybody, which is not gonna happen. Maybe this is also one of the reasons why people don't greet you. But in a village, you're gonna, see 2, 3, 5 people on the fucking street, and you're gonna fucking greet them. In the end, I think it just feels way more friendly and also way more connected and way nicer in a village. It's a bit more personal, I'd say. It's not always so strict and not always so, yeah. Many countries that are, I've already read that. The message is clear: beyond a certain income, enough to make you feel safe and secure, of course, which is kind of the underlying principle or the underlying basis. How you spend your money becomes more important than how much money you have. In cultures that foster face-to-face interactions, people tend to be highly satisfied and live long lives. I do want to repeat that, and this is a quote as everything. Forget about that. Anyway, in cultures that foster face-to-face interactions, people tend to be highly satisfied in live long lives. So it's going to be all about connection as well. Author and explorer Dan Buettner, investigated groups around the world, including the people of Ikaria, a Greek island in the Aegean Sea. Living to 100 is common among the Icarians. And it is and I thought about that, it's one of the blue zones. And the blue zones do have certain characteristics. I'm willing to go through them after that. The Japanese notion of ikigai, the reason for which you wake up in the morning, is pervasive. And there's actually a ton of books about ikigai. I think the whole concept is very interesting and maybe even crucial to go through at a time. Because, I think it can really help you, and it can really do something for you and your happiness and your will to live, quote unquote. Anyway, let's go through self-esteem and the security need as well, and then I'm willing to talk about the blue zones. All people in our society, with a few pathological exceptions, have a need or desire for a stable, family-based, usually high evaluation of themselves, for self-respect or self-esteem, and for the esteem of others. Abraham Maslow, A Theory of Human Motivation, 1943. The most important attitude we have may be the attitude we have towards ourselves. A basic sense of self-worth and confidence in the effectiveness of our actions provides a fundamental foundation for growth. Self-esteem is one of the strongest correlates of life satisfaction, although the strength of the correlation differs based on culture, and low self-esteem is one of the biggest risk factors for depression. The latest research suggests that a healthy self-esteem is an outcome of genuine accomplishment and intimate connection with others and of sense of growing and developing as a whole person. So what is healthy self-esteem? Modern research has identified two distinct phases of healthy self-esteem: self-worth and mastery. Self-worth involves the evaluation of your overall sense of self. Are you a fundamentally good person with social value in this world, feeling worthy of who you are as a person? Lays a healthy foundation for who you want to become. The second phase of self-esteem, mastery, involves the evaluation of your overall sense of agency. Are you an intentional being who can bring about your desired goals by exercising your will? Yeah, I would say as well that self-esteem is a big thing, and I find it highly interesting that self-esteem is also based on connections that you're having with other people. Whether it is intimate, I think, or just social connections is not that of a big thing, but I'm also seeing that in myself. I most of the time am alone. I most of the time am not with people. I most of the time am just doing whatever I want to do. I'm just doing a ton of things alone, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this is something bad, but I clearly see that when I'm meeting somebody or when I'm hanging out with somebody, then I get a ton of energy out of that most often. I think that I am both introverted and extroverted. I do not want to actually say that I'm one of these two things, because I can get and need both things. Well, I can get a ton of out of them, and I need both time for me alone and also time with other people, as I have seen throughout my life quite. Anyway, let's quickly blue zones, of course, blue zones, because I do want to quickly go through the characteristics those have, because I don't remember. This is quite the only reason. Blue zones lessons, blue zones project, original blue zones explorations. Maybe this, I guess. I don't know. Icaria, Greece. Loma Linda, California, indeed. Sardinia, Italy. Okinawa in Japan. Nicoya, Costa Rica. And that is quite it. Under characteristics, speaking life, could you please? About. It's probably going to be about the setting, I guess. The site. Life, speaking, communities, recipes, articles. Maybe I can find something in the articles. The pandemic made farmers markets essential sources of healthy food for all income levels. Why we need casual friendships too. Even though it would actually be pretty interesting to see what casual friendships are. What's the characteristic of that? What's the definition of casual friendship? But that's what is considered blue zone. A few places in the world are called blue zones. The term refers to geographical areas in which people have low rates of chronic disease and live longer than anywhere else. This article describes the common lifestyle features of people in blue zones. Let's actually head through that. I do not like Healthline per se. It heavily depends on the article though, but some are just really shit. Icaria, Greece is actually written the wrong way apparently. It's with a K and not with a C, but might depend on English versus non-English, I guess. Studies have found that genetics only play a 20 to 30% role in longevity. Yeah. People who live in blue zones eat a diet full of whole plant foods. They fast and follow the 80% rule of calorie restriction, yada yada yada, fasting. They consume alcohol in moderation. Red wine apparently is a big thing for them. Exercise is built into daily life, yes. These people indeed do move quite a lot because they do a lot, whether farming, garden work, or something else in that space, where you just have to move your body. It's not necessarily gonna be super duper strenuous. It's not gonna just kill you, give you a heart attack, because there's so much work and or such difficult work and such hard work. But you're moving your body throughout the day, which is definitely something that we are not doing, we in the Northwest, let's put it like that. Because, I don't know, we're sitting all day long, we're pretty sedentary, you know what I mean. Anyway, they get enough sleep. Big thing, I would say. A number of studies have found that not getting enough sleep or getting too much sleep can significantly increase the risk of death, including from heart disease or stroke. In addition to exercise, getting adequate rest and good night's sleep also seem to be very important for living a long and healthy life. Often traits and habits associated with longevity. Being religious or spiritual, which can give you purpose. Pretty important, actually. Having a life purpose, guess what? People in blue zones tend to have a life purpose known as ikigai. In Okinawa or Plan de Vida in Nicoya, this is associated with reduced risk of death, blah, 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 blah. Older and younger people live together, a healthy social network. Your social network, called Mwai in Okinawa, can affect your health. For example, if your friends are obese, you have a greater risk of being obese, possibly through social acceptance of weight gain. The bottom line, blue zones regions are home to some of the oldest and healthiest people in the world. Although their lifestyle differ slightly, they mostly eat a plant-based diet, exercise regularly, drink moderate amounts of alcohol, get enough sleep, and have good spiritual, family, and social networks. Each of these lifestyles or lifestyle factors has been shown to be associated with a longer life. By incorporating them into your lifestyle, it may be possible for you to add a few years to your life. And for me, indeed, the only thing that I would have to work on is, sleep to some degree. In recent times, I've been fucking with it unnecessarily. And definitely family, spiritual, and social network things. I really have a feeling of just having to kind of deal with that bit and do something about that. Yeah. Anyway, I do hope that I'm able to share some things of interest to you. And I am going to see you the next time. So, bye-bye.